All right. Good morning. Happy Monday morning. We have mat class this morning, so we'll need our mat goodies, something for inner thigh, maybe for arm and shoulder work, and definitely something to sit on, even if you don't think you need to. We are going to start sitting up. We'll breathe here. We'll do some movements through the hands, the wrists, the shoulders, loosening all of that up before we lie down. So make yourself comfortable in sitting. I've got my legs crossed, but you could find some alternate position that you can remain in for about 5 minutes and not be too discomforted. Okay, so we find the base of our pelvis. You might want to rock a little forward and back. Sitting bones are the reference here. With your weight equally distributed left to right and front to back, stacking the spine vertically in space from the base of the pelvis. We make sure that the bottom of the ribs are centered over the top opening of the pelvis. So you might do a little orientation there, a little bit of movement forward and back, side to side. And then, of course, we'll tend to bring the top of the ribs into alignment. Make sure the shoulders are also centered so they're not straining forward or back or up or down, right? Just resting. And then with the head, I mean, in general, you're going to want to think about sliding the soft pad a little bit back and a little bit up so that the stem of the neck is long and continuous or unbroken from the base of the spine. Once you're there, you can close your eyes if you like or simply lower your gaze. We'll inhale through the nose. When the lungs are full, very gently round the lips and exhale through the mouth. When it's time to inhale, breathe in through the nose. Without a lot of tension in the mouth, just very gently rounding the lips, exhale in a steady stream. And that is our basic pattern for the breathing. So you keep that going, and I'll add little things to think about here and there. Maybe one of the first things is that you want to make sure that in the breathing process that you don't feel any additional stressors on the spine. So you don't want to feel like the head is straining forward or the shoulders are working hard on either phase of the breath. Maintain a continuity in the posture of your spine and feel a smoothness in the texture of your breath. Know that the breath gets distributed across the back of you, the left and right of you, as well as through the front. Inhales dropping down, resting gently against the base of pelvic floor. And from pelvic floor, the exhales rise up through the crown. Begin to think a little bit more about the activation of pelvic floor muscles, active already on the inhale, as sort of an anchoring point or a landing pad for the breath in. And then active on the exhale to support that breath as it rises. And you'll feel energy lifting up through the spine. If you can apply the Kegel on that phase of the breath as well. You don't ever want to feel like you're pressing down, not through pelvic floor, not through the neck or the shoulders, not through the length of your spine. For a half a minute more, we breathe here, feeling the support through pelvic floor. The breath as it enters and then leaves the base of the pelvis, the base of the spine, and spaciousness in the spine itself through both phases of the breath. One more in and out. When you've released that last exhale, go ahead and open your eyes or refocus them. And we'll do a little bit of head movement. So we're going to start with a nod and release. Dropping the chin down, you might support it with a fingertip or two so that the head doesn't slide forward. And then returning to a neutral gaze. Chin dropping down. Usually we do this on an inhale. And then coming back up to a neutral head as you exhale. Just a couple more times. Putting a little movement into the neck. A good thing to do if you've been doing yard work or golf all weekend, or a combination of the two. When you've returned to a neutral head position, we're going to swivel left and right. So the next vertebra down from the top one is one that allows the head to swivel or to scan across the room. And so long as you're breathing regularly, you're free to find your own rhythm for this, your own rhythm for the breathing, not necessarily tying movement to any particular phase of the breath. When you've returned to a forward head position, we do 2 circles in each direction. Begin by dropping the chin downward, and then rolling one ear toward the same-sided shoulder. Bring the head up to a neutral position, maybe rolling it back as you do that. And then completing the circle, other ear toward other shoulder, dropping down in front. Reversing that. Now, if this makes you dizzy, please keep your eyes open. Yeah, we don't want to give you vertigo first thing Monday morning. After you've done the single head circle or head roll in each direction, do again, but involve the upper ribs and the shoulders. After you've completed one circle, go the other way until you've done both directions. And then lift your upper body to a neutral position and extend your arms to the front. We're going to have the fingertips up and spread. And we just rotate out and down and back up again. So we're just rotating here. And the rotation should come from the shoulders, but you're going to feel a spiral that goes down through the elbow joints, through the lower arms, as the 2 lower arm bones rotate over each other, maybe even into the wrists. Do this a couple more times. And then end with the fingertips down and curl the fingers in. Curl your fists towards your forearms and your elbows bend as you lift the elbows up. Inhale. And then exhale, return to neutral, extending the arms in front of you, lengthening, opening the palms, and flexing the wrists. Do that again. Curl in. Bend your elbows. Fist to shoulder tops, lift your elbows. Inhale and breathe out. We do one more time, curling the fingers into the fists into the forearms, bend the elbows, lift, and then return, but keep the elbows bent. We're going to move laterally, inhaling, opening the chest, and then exhale, elbows forward, maybe even touching each other as you round the spine. A couple more times, inhale. And exhale, allow the head movement to coordinate or cooperate with the spine below. When you've done this last one, return to neutral, release the arms, shake out, and lie down onto your backs, please. So you might want a little bit of blanket under your head, that's fine. A ball between your bent knees, if you find that helpful. We'll do just a couple rounds of breath because we did a lot sitting. We'll move pretty quickly into some imprint and release. Get my goodies out of the way here. Lie down and have a comfortable neutral spine so you're not straining to hold the spine in any particular position. I always suggest hands on the low belly, on the front of the pelvis. And then eyes forward to the ceiling, gently open. We inhale through the nose and feel the pelvic floor connection, drawing the breath down toward the hips. Begin to squeeze the ball, and as you exhale, you'll feel an energetic lift from pelvic floor upward through the crown as the breath leaves. Keep your Kegel, relax a little through inner thighs, and inhale in a downward direction. Very lightly activate inner thighs, and exhale, feeling the energy of pelvic floor and breath support, lifting upward through the spine. One more, and then we start moving. Breathing in and breathing out. Now with that same breath connection, so we're layering, not eliminating. We still breathe in this way, and this time on the exhale, make an imprint. Draw your low back toward the mat, flattening it out, flexing the lumbar spine. Then inhale and release to neutral. Kegel anchoring that breath. Squeeze the ball, exhale, imprint the lower spine. Eliminate action or work through the neck and shoulders. And then inhale and return to neutral. We do this just twice more. Now, it's not necessary for the low spine to completely touch the mat, especially if it means that you're pushing from your shoulders. All right, so don't do that. Go where you can go with the work of the low abs. Release. And put the ball off to the side. Don't get rid of it, but put it off to the side. Exhale and bring a leg into tabletop. And then hug the knee in toward the chest. Stretch the other leg long. So we'll do a little bit different style of hip release this morning. Very simplified. You're hugging one knee in, flexing it, flexing the hip, extending the other. And then open the bent knee out a little bit, bring it in. Guiding with your hands. You might even take it in little circles. Go the other way if you're doing the circling. And then put that foot to the ground. Bring the other leg up through tabletop and pretty quickly squeeze the knee in toward the chest. Slide the first leg long. Hold here for a moment and breathe. You can move the leg laterally across the midline and open if you like. And then you can take it into little tiny circles in the hip if that feels okay for the hip and the low back. Put that foot down on the ground, bend both knees, and roll over onto your spine, onto your side for spinal rotation. Ball between the knees will give the hips a little bit of space and the inner thighs something to do. And lifting your head up a little more can feel comfortable for the neck. Weights or not, doesn't matter. We'll exhale in preparation, squeezing the ball. And then on the inhale breath, begin to turn the head upward to lift the arm. And exhale as you squeeze the ball and stabilize the legs. You open into twist through the ribs, through the waist. Hold here, inhaling. And then squeeze the ball. Exhale and return. We do two more. Turning the head upwards as you inhale, lifting the arm. Continuing to open into twist. Exhale. Inhale in place. Squeeze the ball. Exhale. Relax outer hips and thighs. And please continue through one more rotation. Same pattern. When it's time to return, use a grounded exhale. And having completed the third one, roll over to your other side. We set it up the same way. Knees are bent and stacked, hips and shoulders are stacked as well. We prepare with an exhale, anchoring into core and inner thighs. And on the inhale, turn the head upward, lift the arm. Exhale, open into twist. Make sure you're not twisting at all through the pelvis, right? That's one of the reasons we squeeze the inner thighs. And of course, we're returning a total of 3. Keeping the pelvis nice and stable helps to stabilize the sacrum, the lower back, and especially if you have got some extra mobility there. That's an important point as we do spinal rotation. Third one, please. Here too, we're layering with the breath. We have those essential connections. We're adding different movements, different actions through the arms and shoulders. And when you're finished, the final one, please come to hands and knees. We're moving toward cat stretch. Well, we're weight bearing a little bit on the shoulders. Please put a ball or block between the knees if that's a helpful connection for you. Tuck the toes and neutralize the spine. Distribute your weight and have an inhale and an exhale. On that exhale, you have a light activation of inner thighs, identifying the midline. Kegel and inhale, draw the breath down to your center. Begin movement in the center first as you exhale and round the spine into a spooked cat position. Opening the outer surfaces of the vertebral joints, rounding, dropping the head, but not breaking the line of the neck. Inhale and exhale. Begin with your center, returning through neutral. Lengthening through the crown of the head. And then finally on this inhale, extending through the upper back. Make it be the chest lifting, not just the forehead lifting. Release and do one more exactly the same. Push a little into your arms. Inhale, shift your weight back to your legs. And exhale, return. When you extend through the upper back, please open the chest. So don't try and do that with shoulders hunchy into the neck. Now listen, this one is going to be different. It's our final cat stretch. We're going to begin the same way with your exhale as you round from the bottom of the spine to the top. Once you're there, inhale, and now listen, here's where it's different. On your exhale, start at the top of your spine, return to neutral, and feel that motion rippling downward through your tail. You're still welcome to inhale and extend the upper back here if you like. Release. And then lie down on your back, ready for hip rolls. So it's no accident we did our last cat stretch that way. It's going to feed into the sequencing of the hip roll action. Ball between the knees, feet planted, a lower level of head mat underneath. In your neutral position, Kegel and inhale. And then as you squeeze the inner thighs lightly, exhale and begin flexing the spine, moving your center first. Each vertebra at a time lifts from the mat as you round the spine. You come all the way up to the shoulders, resting there. Neutral here, so a little bit different than cat stretch. But like our last cat stretch, on your next exhale, start at the top of the spine and ripple back downward towards your center. Neutral at the bottom, we have 2 more. Exhale and roll up. Inner thighs active and connected into the soles of your feet. Hit that position at the top and feel the openness across the chest. Not quite extension, but we definitely want to feel that freedom across the front of the shoulders. And then exhale from top to bottom, roll it back down. One more repetition. By now you know the sequence, of course, you know the breathing. Pay particular attention to the bottom of the feet and the work that's done through the back of the hips, the back of the thighs. Don't use your lower back or any of your back extensors, really. Feel the work in the legs on the way down as well, supporting you. Once you've returned to neutral on the ground, stay there for a breath cycle, inhaling and exhaling as you release all the work through the back of the hips and the thighs. And prepare to work a little bit through the shoulders. So secure the position of the bottom ribs and find your weights maybe if you like to use them. We will extend the arms forward and start with some triceps presses before we go into our arm reaches. Arms are extended forward. Even if you don't use weights this morning, right? Make little fists of your hands and squeeze until you feel work in the hands, strengthen the forearms, and release in the shoulders. Take a breath, exhale, squeeze inner thighs, and then on the inhale, slowly bend your elbows, reaching your hands back towards your shoulders. And exhale, extend, engaging through triceps. Now, if you're not using weights, that'll be mostly a feeling of sort of isometric triceps engagement, especially as you reach into full extension. We have a total of 5. Each cycle of breath is core work. Each extension of the elbows should wake up your triceps a little bit more clearly and perhaps challenge them. When you've extended your arms the last time, we keep them extended, and on the inhale breath, reach the arms back. Feel the bottom of the ribs connecting downward, and then squeeze the ball, exhale, and return. Feel the breath rising upward. We have 5 of these as well. Pay attention to the effect of your arm movement on the sensation in your spine. You don't ever want to close through the outside of the spinal joints. So if you ever feel like you're getting shorter as the arms reach back, maybe reach back less far, and put more effort into breath. We do our 5th and final repetition, gliding the arm bones in the shoulders. And then right away, bend the elbows and slip the hands under the back of the head. We're going to do a couple of head nods before we bend forward into ab prep. Your hands should form a little sling for the curvature of your head. On your inhale breath, tilt the chin downward. Then on your exhale breath, return to a neutral head position. Just 2 more. A second round of the movement that we did right at the beginning of our workout. So while this action should open the back of the neck, it shouldn't create an uncomfortable strain. Then you've released from that 3rd and final head nod. Move your elbows up and down a little bit until you feel the shoulders settling into a neutral position on top of the ribs. Open and close a little bit to the side. Same idea, orienting the shoulders. Wherever the ribs go, the shoulders right along. We inhale, nod the head, squeeze the ball on exhale, and bend the rib cage forward. Shoulders centered on the top of the ribs, arms centered in the shoulders. Inhale, squeeze the ball, exhale, and lower down. So even though we're using our arms, we're not straining the shoulder joints or muscles. Inhale, nod. Squeezing lightly inner thighs, exhale, ribs bend. Hold here, inhaling. Squeeze the ball, exhale, and lower. 3 more, please. And I am asking you to think about the ribs bending. Of course, the spine bends too, but we really want to feel it in that thoracic area as mobility, as strengthening for the oblique muscles. When you've lowered from your last one, stretch your legs out long. And of course, if you have a ball between your knees, you'll put it off to the side. You can take any stretch you like in transition. I always like to stretch legs long on the mat and flex and point the feet a couple of times. If it's nicer for you to hug your knees in, that's fine. We are going to be rolling over into a prone position, lying belly down. So take a couple of breaths, a half a minute, and make your way there. This morning, we're going to go a little bit out of order. So we'll start with breaststroke prep number 2. That's the one where the arms are long by the sides. And I wanted to start there today so that we could feel the subtleties, the middle back connection without bending the neck, right? So that we could feel the placement of the shoulders. Bottom of your hips are forward into the mat, the pubic bone's comfortably grounded. We do start in a kind of slumpy position with the shoulders. Stretch through the legs, engage the inner thighs and lengthen your hips. And as you inhale, pick up your arms along your sides, balancing the shoulders and taking strain out of the neck. Engage your triceps as you stretch your elbows. And then exhale, use the muscles at the bottom of the shoulder blades to lift the chest up. It's a rib movement. Of course, it's a spinal extension as well. Inhale here. And exhale, lower. Arms release forward. The next breath in, place the shoulders, balance them with regard to the neck and the rib cage. Stretch through the arms, and on your exhale, move your shoulder blades. Causes the upper ribs to spread in front and to lift from the mat. Inhale, exhale, and lower. Please do 2 more of these. Begin with the placement of the shoulders and the head. Continue into the extension of the upper ribs. Stretch a little longer through the legs and lower on your exhale breath. Final repetition when you're ready, continuing smoothly. And lowering. Good. When you're down, bend your elbows and place the hands in position for breaststroke prep number 1. So palms flat to the mat, forearms parallel to each other. Lower body is the same. And when you inhale, I'd like you to feel that same awareness of shoulder and head position. On your exhale breath, find the muscles that frame the bottom of the shoulder blades and use those to help you start to lift the chest. Now you're welcome to press down a little through the forearms and extend higher to the bottom of the ribs, really stretching and opening the upper spine. And exhale, lower. 2 more of these. Prepare, aware of shoulder and head position. Stretch your legs, lengthen your hips and your waist. Exhale and extend. Hold, breathe in. Exhale and lower. 1 more repetition. Lowering on your exhale breath. Please sit back into shell stretch. We take about a half minute here, stretching. Breathing into the back and sides of the ribs. Moving the head and shoulders around a little bit. Maybe finish the round of breath you're on. And then start to roll up, pushing the floor away with your hands. Good. We'll go ahead and sit up, and you might want to sit on a cushion. We do a few things here. We'll actually start with a little bit of a twist. So we're definitely jumping the order of our normal workout here. And you can bring your hands together at the center of your chest, or if you're ready for it, extend the arms out long to the sides. Just a simple twist on exhale, return on inhale. We are going to divide the exhale up into three segments though. So once you've got the upper body and head arranged, we'll begin to exhale and twist a little bit to one side. Exhale again and twist further. Exhale a final time. And then inhale, return through center. Other side, twisting a little bit. This time we begin the movement, the twist from the bottom of the waist. We twist a little further, energy moving upward, twist building upward, twist to the end of your range, and then release. Continue that 2 more times across the sides. Twist and energy and breath all building upward without ever misaligning the head and the shoulders, or the shoulders and the ribs, or the ribs and the pelvis. So technique, proprioception all matter very much. Good. When you've done your last one, you just drop your arms by your sides. Good. And relax for a moment with the arms down. We do a spine stretch forward. So it's like an ab prep that you do from sitting. Imagine that you have the back of your head and ribs and shoulder blades and pelvis really against a wall. And then we inhale and nod the chin downward without dropping the head forward. When you've got the flexion at the neck, then exhale, begin to bend forward through the upper ribs, chest, heart, bottom of the ribs. Feel a smooth curve that's unbroken and also distributed from bottom of the ribs to top of the head. And then exhale, roll back up from bottom to top. One more time. Nod the head from top to bottom. We exhale and flex forward. Where the ribs go, the shoulders go. So be careful you don't push them forward or back. You just allow them to track with the flexion of the ribs, the spine. And then exhale and roll up. Feel this is a spinal movement rather than a shoulder initiated movement. When you've done that, go ahead and bend your knees if they're straight. I'm going to change my angle so that you can see that I'm going to do neck pole prut. Hands either lightly behind the head or at the forehead, especially if you tend to slide your head forward. Yeah. Sitting up nice and tall, we prepare with an inhale breath. And then starting at the base of the spine, we exhale and flex. Not resisting or controlling with the shoulders, just riding along stable through the upper body. Now as we return, we start the flexion from the top of the spine, nodding the head and bending the chest, the ribs forward, like we're trying to touch our knees with our forehead. When you're on top of your sitting bones, inhale, stack yourself up. We do 2 more. Kegel, inhale, exhale, roll back. You can squeeze your ball if you're using it. Reduce any tension from the back and sides of the neck. releasing it if you can. Inhale, nod the head, that will help. And then exhale, bend forward. Upper ribs, chest, all curving sequentially. Kegel inhale, stack up. And please do one more. When you finish the final one, go ahead and lower your arms, and we're gonna lie down onto our backs. So you wanna ditch your pillow or anything you're sitting on. Maybe put a little cushion under your head, getting ready for some tabletop work. Specifically, we're gonna do a couple of ab preps and then move into the 100. So if you know, for instance, that you're not gonna lift your head on the 100, you might go ahead and grab a flex band or something to give your arms and shoulders a little bit more focus. So we're lying on our backs, no ball between the knees, but definitely connection and awareness in our center. Breathe in and breathe out, feeling that without any effort through the muscles that move your body, you've got good breath connection to your core. Inhale. And now exhale and make an imprint. Hold on to your imprint and prepare for tabletop. We inhale and then exhale, come up onto the point of your foot to lift one leg up, making a tabletop shape with the leg. Do the same for the second side. And any modifications you need to take, you take. We'll have hands behind the head and we'll continue with some ab prep. So nothing funny. Pilates is very serious. I joke. Inhale, nod your chin to your chest. We've already got the curve in the lower spine. Now let's match it with the curve in the upper spine. Exhale, moving forward from the mat. Flexible in your center. Kegel, inhale. And exhale, lower. We do just 2 more of these. We've done a lot of flexion at this point. We've practiced. And we nod and bend forward in what is maybe the most challenging position. And exhale, lower down. Nod the chin. Exhale, bend forward. And now listen, here's where we have our forking pathway. If you're gonna stay up for the 100, reach and grab the back of your legs with your hands. If you need to lower your head, do that now. When you're in that perfect position, balanced on the back of the pelvis, extend the arms along your sides and exhale, open the chest. Begin on your inhale, pumping the arms 5 times as you inhale in 5 little sniffs. Exhale, 5 little puffs of air out as you continue to pulse the arms. And you might be using a flex band, right? You might have your head on the ground. All sorts of ways to modify this. Right, legs extended. Great version. Beautiful, guys. 10 sets of these 10 little breaths. When you have done your 10th set, inhale. And on your exhale, bend your knees if they're extended, lower your head. And go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. So we are going to, before we leave tabletop, do a reverse spinal rotation, which simply means that the rotation is still in the waist, but it's the hips that are moving rather than the ribs that are moving. Right? I'll show you. Okay. So we're hugging the knees in. You can do a little roll around if that feels good. And then square off the hips. Make sure you have a clear feeling of balance in the hips and the shoulders, as well as imprint in the lower spine. On your exhale breath, Guide the legs back into tabletop without changing anything about the support or posture of your spine. And consider putting a ball between the knees. Block works too. So we want to not roll or slide the knees against the block or ball. Instead, we're going to turn from the pelvis. On an exhale breath, lifting one half off as the knees sway off to the side. Right, don't go to extremes, explore it first. And then inhale back to center. Squeeze the ball. And exhale, other side rolls off the mat, twisting through the lower part of the waist, shoulders still resting back. Inhale, return to center. Keep this going, and of course, as you find a little bit more stability through the pelvic halves, you can go more deeply. Continuing across the sides. Finish the repetition you're on and do one more, please. When you're finished with that, put the ball off to the side and lower one foot at a time to the mat. With the feet down, return to neutral through the pelvis. Good. And then exhale and relax the shoulders. Hands behind the head, please. With the hands behind the head and the lower spine in neutral, nod your chin and exhale, bend forward. In the forward bend, feel that the shoulders go where the ribs go and they are connected and integrated with the head. On your exhale breath, twist the ribs now, not moving the pelvis. Inhale, return through center. Exhale off to the other side, twisting the ribs, moving the spine, not hauling the shoulders around, return to center. Two more across the sides. We've got it. Yes. When you've completed your third set, from center, exhale, lower your head. Bring your arms by your sides. And for a moment here, you can put the ball between the knees if you like. For a moment here, feel the balance in position and tone between the shoulders and the hips. Rest the shoulders. And on your exhale breath, press your hips forward to the ceiling. It's shoulder bridge. Feel here the balance in the tone of, or the position rather, of the hips to shoulders, hips working, shoulders not, and exhale, lower. Lift up again on the exhale breath, squeezing the ball if you're using it and pressing from the back of the hips and the legs, not the lower back. Exhale, lower, and I understand that that can be a tricky thing to tease apart. Before lifting the final time, know where your weights are. And then finally exhale, lift your hips up and pause. We're going to go ahead and perhaps with the weights, perhaps without, extend the arms forward to the ceiling. And now we work consistently in the hips, dynamically through the shoulders. And on the exhale breath, reach the arms back. Firm your grip of your weights, firm your triceps, and exhale, return the arms forward. Have a breath here. Both of these shoulder movements occur on the exhale, in this case, reaching back. Breath in, and then breath out as you return the arms forward. One more. Exhale, reaching the arms back. And then return the arms on the next exhale and bring them all the way down by your sides. With the arms down by the sides, take a breath and we'll roll down out of this hip roll style, one vertebra at a time, flexing through the spine until you've returned to neutral position on the ground. Put the block or ball off to the side. Good. And on the next exhale breath, press your hips forward to the ceiling. If you need to, you can support the back of your hips with your hands. And also, you can just lower the hips to the ground if this proves hard to stabilize. We're going to lift one leg up. Point the toes. Inhale as the leg points toward the ceiling, and then flex the foot and exhale, lower the leg down. Point and inhale, lift. Flex and exhale, lower. 2 more times. Bend the knee. Exhale, put the foot on the ground. Inhale and exhale, lower your hips. Have a breath in and a breath out. And of course, we're preparing to do the other leg. Finally, bridging up on an exhale. Supporting the back of the hips if you need to, or lowering them is a possibility. We extend the other leg forward to the ceiling, point the toes. On your exhale, flex the foot and lower the leg slowly, pulling it down out of the hip, and then point and inhale, lift. We do 4 of these. Good, very nice balance in hips and shoulders. When you've done your last one, bend your knee. And exhale, put the foot on the floor. Roll down, hip roll style. And then exhale and hug your knees into your chest. As you hug your knees into your chest, of course, you can do any movement that feels nice. You can also separate the legs and circle them independently of each other. And then return the legs to a tabletop position, keeping your imprint. And this time holding on to the back of your thighs. Unshrug the shoulders from the neck, nod the chin to the chest, and exhale, bend forward. Extend both legs upward. We are moving to scissors, and if it's healthy to lower your head at this point, that's what you should do. From this vertical position through the legs, we exhale and pull one leg toward as the other leg lowers. Inhale, switch, and exhale, other side. Keep this going across the sides, stretching the back of the hips and hamstrings alternately with the front of the other hip. We do about 5 across the sides. If at any point this starts to feel like a neck exercise, do lower your head. That's right. Good, you guys. Keep the work and the focus on the breath in the low abs, as well as the stretch of the legs. And when you've done your last repetition across the sides, bend the knees to tabletop and exhale, lower your head if it's up. Feet go down one at a time, exhaling as you do that. Pelvis returns to neutral. Good. Keep your knees bent and roll off to lie on one side. You can double up your head mat under your head or simply tuck your elbow under your ear. Good. We're going to keep the knees bent and do again our little clamshell motion. We've been doing this ideally as a way to keep some flexibility and circulation in the hips, but also to keep tone in the lateral rotators. So
Lying here, feet stay together. And on the inhale breath, lift the top knee without rolling the pelvis back. Exhale, lower the knee and gently press the knees together from the inner thighs as you release lower back and outer hips. Inhale, rotate from under the curve of your glutes. And exhale, press down. 3 more. Now, you should already be feeling a little work in the muscles at the side of the waist to help stabilize the position of the pelvis against the motion of the leg. Don't grip your glutes to do that work, right? Use your core and your abdominal muscles. Keep the bottom leg bent and extend the top leg out. The top leg is floating essentially. We keep the foot pointed and inhale, lift the leg up. Flex and exhale, lower the leg down. This time that lifting and lowering is in a lateral plane. Five total. And when you've done your last one, we make a transition that we don't ordinarily make by coming to hands and knees. Same leg, the leg that was on top. I'm going to try her not to kick something. We stretch the leg out behind us. And on the inhale breath, round the spine and pull the knee forward to the nose. On the exhale breath, return through neutral, extend the spine and the hip, and reach long. Inhale, curving the spine. And exhale, extending spine. 3 more of these. Inhale, flexing at the hip. And exhale, maybe extending slightly through the hip. Again, a total of 5, so probably 2 more. And when you've done your last one, ease yourself back either into your hips or down onto the floor. We are going to lie on the other side and do this whole sequence, starting with the new top leg. And 5 is the magic number here today for all of these different exercises. They all build one on the other. We have our knees bent, our spine neutral, the pelvis is stable. You shouldn't have a lot of balance challenge here. And then when you're ready, you keep the feet together. And on the inhale breath, lift the top knee out. On the exhale, slowly lower the leg and eventually squeeze the inside of the knees together. Lightly release low back and outer hip. We do this a total of 5 times. Super important not to grip your glutes in an effort to stabilize the pelvis or the low spine, enhance your balance. But instead to rely on core tone and work through the obliques. That's it. And when you've done your last one, you stretch the top leg long. Bottom leg stays bent for balance and for lower back comfort. We point the top leg and on the inhale, lift it up. On the exhale, flex and lower that leg down. So working our core as a way to stabilize against the weight of the moving leg. You're weightlifting without need for a TRX machine or, yeah, there we go. After you've done your 5th one, You'll catch your breath and come to hands and knees. You do start in a neutral position as you orient the shoulders and the hips, again finding balance here and connection upstream from the core. And then we'll begin by extending that new leg back behind us, and there's our starting position. On the inhale, breath round the spine and pull the knee forward to the nose, and then exhale, reach through neutral and into extension through spine, hips, and shoulders, or chest rather. We do 5 of these. Remember to unshrug to find coordination in the action of the hips and the shoulders with the action of the spine. And when you've done your last one, definitely sit back for a moment into shell stretch. Maybe 2 more rounds of breath. We're working toward the end, but we're not quite done yet. On your next exhale, please roll up if you haven't yet. And we're going to move into plank. And so you can stay on the floor or you can come to standing against a wall or a countertop. Plank, of course, you can do on your elbows if pressure into your wrist isn't good for you. And you can do on your knees if the extension of the hips and the legs is a lot of strain for the back. So wherever you are, if you're standing, you're just out of reach of the wall or countertop. Wherever you are, move into position for plank, stepping the feet back if you're on the ground, or leaning forward into the countertop if you're working and standing. And once you're there, inhale, open the chest, and on an exhale, bend your elbows a little bit, unless you're resting on them, of course. In a simulation of our standing neutral, our vertical neutral, we're working the breath into the core in an effort to stabilize the spine, but not just stabilize it, to provide some length and spaciousness in the spine. We have about a half minute more, so really it's 4 rounds of breath, more or less. Good, you guys. Probably down to our last round of breath. When you've done that, go ahead and lower the knees or come back off the wall for a moment. And nod yes and no. Roll your shoulders. We do a second brief set, not for as long, and with the option of doing push-ups instead of plank if you'd like to add additional work for the arms and shoulders. On your next exhale, prepare to come into position, maybe placing your hands or getting over your feet if you're standing. And then step those feet back or lean into your wall and decide if you're going to work on your knees or on your toes if you're on the ground. Either returning to the plank position or preparing to begin push-ups. If you're doing push-ups, on the inhale, bend your elbows, and on the exhale, push away. If you're in plank, you're just breathing. And I don't mean just, of course, you're providing support and comfort for the spine. Let's go for a total of 6, please, if you're doing push-ups. Remember to keep the head and the shoulders aligned, harmonious or cooperative. And when you've done your last one, lower your knees, sit back. If you're on the wall, just stand. We have a couple of rounds of breath in. If you're standing and can close your eyes, do that. We're done. Yeah, so I'm not going to trick you into something else hard. Feel the breath moving through the length of your spine. If you're bent forward from the ground, go ahead and lengthen the spine upward, returning to verticality in your posture. Breathing in, feel the breath moving down your length across the base of your hips, maybe into your legs. And then feel the exhale, the warmth of the breath washing upward through the spine, through the crown, putting ease in the neck and the shoulders and the low back. 2 more breaths in and out. And 1 more. Beautiful work this morning, guys. That's it. Gently open your eyes. I'll turn off the recording. Thanks for coming by.